A very good afternoon and welcome to Leichhardt Oval, home of the Balmain Tigers this afternoon. What a beauty. Balmain versus St George should be a spectacular game of football. One each between the Tigers and the Saints. Balmain, the reserve grade 18-15, and St George, the under-21s by 10 points to 8. The Balmain Tigers, coached by Warren Ryan. Their fullback, Jumpin' Jimmy Jack this afternoon. The wingers are James Grant and Steve O'Brien. Tim Brasher and the milk bottle, Andy Courier, are in the centres this afternoon for Balmain. Courier only arrived this week from England. Michael Neal is the 5'8". Gary Freeman, the whiz, is the halfback. Kevin Hardwick is locked forward. John Elias and Paul Sirinen in the second row. Bruce Maguire and Steve Rocher propping up. Bouncing, Benny Elias is the captain of the Balmain Tigers. Here's the St George Dragons with Greg Hartley.
Yeah, coached by Craig Young. Michael Potter is the fullback. Ricky Walford and Ron Williams are the wingers. Michael Beattie is the captain in the centres with Mark Coyne. Steve Robinson is the 5'8", and David New the halfback. Brad Mackay, the lock forward. Second row, Wally Fullerton Smith and John Fafita. Shane Kelly and Paul Osborne are the two prop forwards. And Trevor Bailey, well, he's going to lock them all together. And we've got Mr McCullum, nicknamed Gillette. He's got the whistle.
Okay, Greg McCullum, the referee today, and it should be a very interesting game. I anticipate a fair bit of fire early in this game. Thinking back to last year's game between the two clubs, there's not much between these two outfits, and it should be a fiery confrontation this afternoon. And, well, a crowd of around maybe 5,000 to 6,000 at Leichhardt Oval this afternoon, Peter, to see this game of football. Yeah, not a good crowd for Leichhardt this afternoon, particularly for a game between sides like this. Here comes Benny Elias now, leading the Balmain Tigers on to Leichhardt Oval. Elias first on, Roach follows him out, and Gary Freeman.
Yeah.
John Elias is there, Big Sirinen charging onto the ball, and Balmain all fired up today for this game of football here at Leichhardt Oval.
Oh, Andy Courier now out there, boy, and I'm telling you, he is like the London fog. I hope he can lift because he looks like two giant milk bottles. And Benny's just come over to give him a bit of a tap and reassurance. Welcome back to Tigerland, he said, son.
I tell you what, he looks very, very fit, Greg.
Doesn't he? And he's a big fella too. I mean, they'll be hoping that he can stride out this afternoon, Peter. And in full flight, he is pretty to watch, is he not?
He's a great attacking player.
Yep.
Can't tackle, but he's a tremendous attacking player. And he'll give can't tackle. Tackle, go fishing with tackle.
Yes.
That's Andy's tackle. Okay, sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Yeah, the corresponding game last year when Andy arrived, he averaged 11 points a game for Balmain. Tackle or not, he was still big value. World-class centre.
Yeah, he is. He's a great attacking player. I can still see that try he scored, Greg, in the top corner here in the...
Fabulous.
Yeah, magnificent try here at the what is it? The...
Drummoyne end.
Drummoyne end?
Yep, that'll do.
Magnificent try.
Birkenhead end.
Oh.
Jeez, I've nearly lost my mate.
I've hit my head.
He's just been knocked out. Give him mouth-to-mouth, Matt, for goodness sake. It's an uninterrupted call. Get him back on his feet.
Okay, let's stand by for the national anthem.
Okay.
Okay, let's settle back now. Get yourself a Tooheys or a cup of tea and a bun and sit back and enjoy this one. Balmain and St George should be a beauty. Round 9 of the Winfield Cup. Already more than 40,000 fans have attended 2 games this weekend, and we're going to see this good game of football get underway. It's St George defending the southern end of Leichhardt Oval, and let's go down to our sideline eye, Tony McGay. What are the conditions like, Magoo?
Well, Peter, certainly a brisk breeze at the back of St George. Maybe a couple of points in it, but certainly a decided advantage for Saints.
Okay, here we go for the kick-off. St George to start play here at Leichhardt Oval.
Brad Mackay getting it underway, taken by Freeman right back in his own in goal. Immediately across to Gary Jack, who carries the football out 8 metres from his own goal line. And he is knocked to the ground. He plays it now to Ben Elias. It goes across to Sirinan, hits it up strongly. Fullerton Smith up over the top. He's put one high, straight on the old whisker. And I think he's going to be called out. Sirinan on his back, but Fullerton Smith, the man, as I called. High, he was second man into the hit too, I might add, which makes it a little bit worse.
Well, that's a state of origin situation between those two. Paul Sirinan charging onto the ball, and he was hit in the tackle very high by Wally Fullerton Smith, and the referee, Greg McCullum, very experienced, called him out and said that's enough of that. So that's the first penalty of the game on Wally Fullerton Smith against the tackle on Paul Sirinan.
John Elias in possession just outside of his own quarter line and immediately pulled down. He got up there to play it back to Benny Elias across to Stephen Roach. Hits it up for an extra couple of metres or so. And Big Johnny Fafita in company with Osborne over the top. Also Trevor Barley involved. Back it goes once again to Sirinan. Off a Ben Elias pass, running very strongly, but he's pulled down 3 hitters over the top. Tigers have got 1 left to go as it goes to Freeman. He's 30 out from his own line as he lines up Elias across the Neil. Out to Andy Courier and attacking immediately Andy Courier, bringing the football out of his own half, and he's taken by Williams over the top. I'm sorry, it's Ricky Walford. Change of possession now as it's played to David New. He goes away from the back of the ruck, but he's knocked down.
Courier's made a tackle.
2 metres short of the halfway line. Trevor Barley trying to go forward. Roach is there to stop that run, and still St George find themselves 2 metres from the halfway line in St George territory.
Balmain coach Warren Ryan's collapsed. He's marked one down to Courier. They multiply them by 5 for our Andy.
Back now it goes into the arms of Osborne. Osborne up to Barley. He gives it across to Kelly. Kelly back to Brad Mackay. Steps away from one, but he's taken centre field 2 metres into Balmain territory, and the tackler was Sirinan and Hardwick. He'll get up to play it. Trevor Barley again at dummy half. A long pass across to David New. Well, he waited that much. Well, he waited that long that the halves got up there very quickly. Hardwick and also Michael Neal to put him down. Now Bailey kicks from the back of the ruck as the arm goes up. O'Brien helpless to do anything with that one. The ball over the touchline, 26 metres out from the Balmain goal line.
Okay, 0-0 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard here at Leichhardt Oval. Arch rivals Balmain and St George doing battle here today, and it'll be a scrum feed to the Balmain side through Gary Freeman.
Yes, and Michael Potter coming up into the line too for the St George side. No fullback at home. Freeman passing across the Neil after the scrum win. Out to Timmy Brasher. Mickey Potter up around the legs to knock him down 26 metres out from the Tigers goal line.
I was disappointed in Brasher, and I haven't said that much about him in his career last week against Canberra. I just think that Tim Brasher last week had one of his rare bad games against Meninga and company down there in Canberra, and he needs a good one this afternoon. Another high tackle there. It's gone unnoticed by the referee, or at least for the moment. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Well, there's a drop in class today for Brasher.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Well, that fellow that Peter mentioned with the high tackle, it was Michael Beattie high again on poor old Paul Sirinan, so he wonders what's going on, but a caution on the run, I feel sure. Mickey now through the gap, back to Freeman again, and Freeman now going to be pulled down by Walford. He'll get up there to play the ball. James Grant's a dummy half. Benny Elias has taken it. Will kick immediately from 10 metres on his own side of the halfway line. Michael Potter 10 out from his goal line, taking it centre field. Will link up on the far side with Williams if he's needed, but no pass, but beautifully tackled by Stephen O'Brien. 28 out from the line as Ronnie Williams from the back of the ruck tries to go away, and he's knocked down 32 metres out from the Saints goal line.
Sirinan was in there in that tackle too, Greg. Good work by the big fella.
Back now it goes to Johnny Fafita, 30 metres away from his own goal line. Trevor Barley serves one up for Osborne, charging forward. He's got Mark Coyne along the side of him, but he's lost possession. Andy Courier picks it up, couldn't believe his luck on that occasion, but he gives it back this time to Hardwick. Hardwick straightens up the attack and settles proceedings down as he's knocked to the ground. He'll play it now. It goes to Courier, across down to Freeman, wide to Bruce Maguire. Maguire taken on, and a beautiful tack from Stevie Robinson drops him. Back now to Gary Jack, across this time to John Elias. He's going to be wrapped up by Fafita, and in came Shane Kelly to drop the shoulder into the midriff to put him down. 10 metres over the halfway line. It's played to Benny Elias, across to Freeman, back now to Roach dummies. That's Sirinan coming through again. Fullerton Smith put another one on him, not in possession of the ball, and Fullerton Smith is going to the bin for 10.
Yeah.
Now, is it any wonder, Zorba? He's not even going to tell him or tolerate him anymore.
Yeah, well, Sirinan just looked at him again, and I think Ciro was just about running out of patience. But that's the second problem, or the third one, that he's had in the opening few minutes of the game, and it was Steve Roach going through, and Sirinan just copped one from Wally Fullerton Smith when he didn't have the football.
Yep.
Okay, and that's given Balmain the opportunity to attack.
Back it goes now into the arms of James Grant. The tap was taken by Elias. It was then given to Freeman, straight into the arms of Grant. But another penalty. And this time it's again Osborne and Trevor Bailey on the man in possession of the ball, James Grant. So a penalty kick now to be taken by the Balmain club. It's 20 metres in from touch. And about 18 metres from the St George line, and I can smell a cucumber, and boy, does it smell good.
Well, it's 3 penalties to 0 in the opening minutes of the game, and the referees had to give every one of them.
Yep.
Now, St George, just an undisciplined start this afternoon in the opening 5 minutes of play. The penalty by Fullerton Smith when Sirenan didn't have the ball was bad enough, and then almost in the play the ball from the tap penalty, they've infringed again. Now, Courier's back. Balmain no longer have a goal-kicking problem, and boy, have they had one so far this year in the opening 8 rounds. Now, this fellow, whatever you say about his defence, he's a class act in attack, one of the best centre three-quarters in the world, and goal-kicking, well, he eats it.
He sure does. Well, he's just inside the quarter line, as I said, 20 metres in from touch. Around the corner style kicker, but not a great deal around the corner, probably halfway. He goes backwards before he comes in with his run in, but he strikes it beautifully. Oh, he's just sailed it straight over the black and yellow dot here at Leichhardt Oval, so the Tigers have struck.
Well, Courier's back, 1 out of 1 for him. Balmain 2 leads St George 0, and it took Andy Courier 6 minutes to get on the board in 1990 in Winfield Cup football. Prolific scorer for the Tigers last year, averaged 11 points a game, and as I said earlier, you can criticise his defence, but you can't criticise his attack or his goal-kicking ability, and he's a beautiful player to watch. He's a big man and a fast man, and certainly he's going to add a new dimension to this Balmain backline that looked pretty ordinary last weekend up against that Canberra class. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
A player would be silly enough to lift his hands after what's happened at Phillip Street this week. Fullerton Smith, you're kidding.
Okay, there it is from sideline eye, Tony McGay. 2-0 to Balmain over St George on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard.
Freeman gives it across to Roach, try to run a scissors movement, but gets a pass out though. Gary Jack back, it goes now to James Grant, but he's wrapped up by John Fafita down low. We'll play it to Freeman, gives it across now to Ben Elias, a long pass out to Michael Neal. Had Brasher out wide, changes his mind, comes back, gives it to Andy Courier. Wasn't expecting that particular pass, and he's easily pulled down 15 metres out by Robinson from his own goal line. Back now it goes to Sirenan, trying to step over the top that time of the tackle from David New, but he hung on to him.
There's a prize out on Ciro's head. Anyone that can get it on his mantelpiece, I think there's a big prize.
Brasher now going forward. He looks back inside, got Steve O'Brien out wide, but knocked down 5 short of the halfway. 1 tackle left to go.
Okay, and Warren Ryan is switching up this Balmain attack this afternoon. Elias is not going dummy half at every ruck like he normally does, and Elias has flicked one out the back door for Gary Jack to kick on the last tackle. So Balmain's Ben Elias is not going dummy half at every opportunity this afternoon. So that's a bit of a change for Balmain this afternoon.
Robinson in possession, taken by Hardwick, 15 short of the halfway line. Back to David New, gives it across now to young Shane Kelly. He can only get within 4 metres of the halfway line before being pulled down by Benny Elias. He'll play it once again to Trevor Bailey, who picks up Osborne going through. Fafita alongside of him, but couldn't get his pass away as he's pulled down by Maguire. He'll play it to Bailey once again, a shade up over the halfway line. Bailey looks for support, picks up David New wide, goes out to Robinson, to Brad Mackay, tries to step 1 or 2. Elias's tackle around the legs was the one to do the damage. David New again from the back of the ruck, chips over the head of James Grant. Oh, it's a good kick too, it bounced a foot in from the touchline and it's gone over.
Good left foot kick there by David New, and St George looking a much better side than the one we saw at Newcastle a couple of weeks ago. 2-0 to the Tigers over the St George Dragons on 2GB's uninterrupted rugby league this afternoon, brought to you by Auto Village Holden, Tui's, LJ Hooker and Liquor Stop.
Scrum to go down, and the referee McCullum having a heck of a long talk to him. He nearly tramples Freeman, and Freeman falls over, gets up, they win the scrum. Michael Neal confronted very strongly by a good tackle from Brad Mackay and Robinson.
Yeah, good play by Michael Neal. He refused to sell the dump to Gary Jack. He took the tackle himself. He looked up and there were 2 St George players on Jack, and he just took the tackle himself. Bruce Maguire steps and almost through a gap, but put down a very good tackle by Osborne.
Yeah, the man he stepped was Mark Coyne, so it was a good one. Now it's back into the arms of Roach. Big Steve blocker Roach across now to Benny Elias. He changes direction too. They're all dressed up, ready to go somewhere, Balmain, but they're running around like they got chooks with their heads chopped off, but it's played now back to Courier. He's kicked downfield. It's going to be be a good one too. It's a beauty. It's 26 metres out from the St George goal line. He had no time at all to get that in, but he made it.
Well, he's settled in like he hasn't been away.
Yeah.
It's incredible. He's just hopped off the plane, put his Tigers jersey on, didn't know he was playing till he got here today, and there he is. He's just settled right into it, and after 10 minutes, Andy Courier's back at Balmain like he was never away.
And the scrum now to be fed by David New. It's going to be won by St George. He races away. Freeman's got him, but he offloads out to Robinson, who looks for a gap. Gary Jacks around the legs to stop the run. He'll play the ball once again to Michael Potter. David New handles to Mark Coyne. Coyne comes back in, straightens up the attack. He's 30 metres away from his own St George goal line. Ricky Walford giving it out this time into the arms of John Fafita. Fafita up to play it back now to Trevor Bailey, who's looking for support. He sends it back centre field to New, across to Robinson, turns it on to Michael Potter coming through the centre of the ruck and down the centre of the ground, but he's met by Maguire's shoulder and put down in no uncertain terms as we see Mackay again across to Osborne, pushes away Michael Neal. That's another go, can't get rid of Sirinen, and Sirinen puts him down. He'll play the ball once again to Bailey. Bailey steps one or two. He's got Balmain inside the 5, any number of them. Roach is there, Sirinen was there too, and that's the ruling. So a penalty given to St George, 31 metres out from the Dragons goal line.
Okay, St George with an opportunity to get deep inside Balmain territory and put a bit of pressure on the Balmain Tigers. 2-0 to Balmain over St George. We've had 11 minutes of play here at Leichhardt Oval this afternoon. It's Brad Mackay coming up now to take the penalty.
Yes, and he's got an extra 2 or 3 metres on the kick too from where the penalty was given, but who gives a heck? What's a metre or two between mates?
James Grant and Ricky Walford, an interesting confrontation this afternoon, both blessed with
Pace.
plenty of speed, and that's going to be good to see that one-on-one confrontation this afternoon. Shaping up as a good game, this one is the Prince of Tonga. John Fafita charges into, is it John Elias? And he's hurt, it's Ben Elias.
Yes, it's
and
Ben
Elias'
Elias.
shoulder, I told you about it last week, and it is a worry right at this moment for bouncing Benny.
Yes.
Not bouncing, I'm here to tell you.
He's sure not. Now it's Kelly playing it back to Osborne, who gives it out to Brad Mackay, and he'll go back for a little bit of a breather. I'm sure assistance will be out to Benny very soon as it goes to Bailey. Back it goes now to Robinson. Robinson was going to offload back into Ricky Walford going through, but Maguire stopped that one. They've got one left to go, the St George side. Bailey at dummy half. He puts a high kick up, and when I say high, it's gained hardly any yardage at all. It's come off one Michael Potter forward. The referee has picked it up too. It's a change of possession, and Balmain, they play it. Back it goes now to Gary Jack down the far side. Michael Beattie, the captain of the St George side, is there to pull him to ground. 15 short of the halfway line. Benny Elias at dummy half to Freeman. Good pass to John Elias. Brad Mackay over the top and a ball and all tackle to drop him. 32 out from the Tigers goal line. Bruce Maguire full of running, charging forward up to Osborne. Fafita also involved, and he's knocked down 9 metres centre field short of the halfway line in Tiger territory.
St George doing very well with Wally Fullerton Smith in the sin bin. Their defence is very, very good at the moment, and it's hurtful defence. It's legitimate and hurtful, and they're meeting this Balmain side at the advantage line. Roach gets over it now and gets his pass away to John Elias. He gives it to his cousin Ben.
Yes, and Benny now out to Maguire. A long pass to Andy Courier. Turns it back inside to James Grant.
I thought that was a forward pass.
It dead set was a forward, and they're going to push Grant straight over the touchline. He couldn't do anything with that one. No control over that situation. Scrum to go down 35 metres out from the St George goal line.
I thought the pass from Bruce Maguire was forward, and it
was, mate.
It certainly looked at, and we're almost in line with it. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
He's in a good bit of pain, Benny Elias. That left shoulder, he's moving it. He's in a lot of trouble.
Okay, Ricky Walford from the scrum base after a pass from David New. He's tackled 40 metres out from the St George goal line. Here's Mackay now.
Yeah, trying to make the bust, but Kevin Hardwick could have nothing of that as she pulls him down, and Andy's made his second tackle over the top. Back now it goes to Kelly. Oh, Roach going through. Kelly's taken a dive. Swan Lake. Michael Edgley should get out here and sign this kid up because Blocker didn't do a darn thing there, and the kid's bit the dust.
Well, he has, and
it's not that hard, Pete. He's pulled it back.
well, Steve Roach.
It was a token tap.
Yeah.
It was a token tap. The touch judges are... Kev, get up off the ground.
Yeah, well, the touch judges didn't even go on, but it did connect around the throat area a little bit.
He's a big, tough lad, that Kelly. Gee whiz, that wouldn't have swatted a fly at a barbecue.
He's okay, Kelly.
Yeah, right. Now the penalty... Oh, we've got the referee changing balls. Something wrong with that one. 2 balls on the field, but now we've got Brad Mackay. Time waved on by referee McCullum. Mackay comes up, has a look at his mark. See if he can grab another couple. Good luck if you can, son. as he comes in now. No spot on the mark this time, and it will find touch just outside the Balmain quarter line.
Okay, here's a good opportunity for St George there, just outside the quarter as Greg described, and they've got 6 tackles to do something with. Let's have a look at this St George attack.
Now it's Osborne charging forward. Sirenen over the top. They're into the quarter area. Balmain end of the ground. Trevor Bailey, a dummy half, fires one out to Gnu. Then Robinson, a bit of a step. He gives it back this time to Mark Coyne, who can run. Coyne's pass is a shocker. Picked up by Michael Neal. The advantage applied by referee McCallum. The Tigers out of trouble and in possession of the football.
Beautiful pass by Robinson there.
Oh, and they've knocked it on. Freeman has knocked the football on, Peter.
Well, a beautiful pass by Robinson there. That was a dangerous situation for Balmain, and now they've coughed up possession, and it'll be a scrum feed to St George.
And the scrum now to be fed by David New from the St George Club, back on the Balmain quarter line. He works this one well. Picked up by Mackay from the lock position, going on his own down the blind side as the scrum breaks up. Back into the Balmain quarter line once again. It's played this time to Trevor Bailey. Gives it across to John Fafita, who picks up a valuable 5 metres or so for the Saints. Across to David New again. Good pass out to Kelly, taken on this time by Johnny Elias. A good tackle too. Maguire also involved. He'll play it to Bailey once again. Across this time to Robinson. Out now to Osborne. Good pass to Brad Mackay. Back inside your Coyne. They got him at 6s and 7s, and it's a try. It's a try to St George, and it was a darn good one too, let me tell you.
Yeah, beautiful ball work by the St George side. They've carved Balmain up. They lead by 4 points to 2. Very good try by Coyne. Magnificent pass by Osborne.
Yep.
Osborne drew the defence, got it out to Mackay. Mackay took the tackle, gave the pass back inside to Mark Coyne, and the Queensland State of Origin rep got over. Ben Elias tried to hold him up before he got the ball down, but referee McCallum was in a good position to adjudicate and ruled that he got the ball down. So Mark Coyne going in for the try, and well, did he get it down?
Good point. I don't think he did, not from the replay we just looked at.
Well, it certainly was touch and go about whether he got the ball down with a downward motion. He may have just got it down before Elias rolled him over, but referee Greg McCallum was in a good position to adjudicate, but gee, it was touch and go. It wasn't all that easy to award that try.
Ricky Walford now inside the Balmain quarter line, 18 metres out from the goal line. About 20 in from touch. Walford comes in and he slams it over the bar. He slammed that one straight over the bar.
Okay, 6 points to 2 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard in favour of St George over Balmain. A try to Mark Coyne, converted by Ricky Walford. St George 6, lead Balmain 2 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. Sideline eye, Tony Mackay.
Well, he's risen to the occasion. Osborne are playing against Roach. He laid it on, a beautiful ball to Mackay.
It certainly was, and an excellent ball from Mackay then on to the try scorer, Mark Coyne. Good player, Mark Coyne, too. It's 6-2. We've got a game on our hands at Leichhardt. After 18 minutes, it's the Saints 6, the Tigers 2.
Yes, and Brad Mackay from the back of the ruck being harassed this time by big Paul Sirenen. Won't go down. He's gone back, that's for sure, but he'll get up the play just outside of his own quarter line. Back to Bailey, goes across to Shane Kelly. Kelly, a good run, has lost possession of the ball. The referee has to put a scrum down. That's what he'll do. It'll go down about 31 metres out from the St George goal line. And the youngster there was caught in 6s and 7s, Pete.
Well, that last try at the other end of the ground resulted from a Gary Freeman knock on.
Yep.
And now we've had a St George knock on in a similar position. Balmain, a lot of fancy football there, but going nowhere.
Absolutely nowhere.
Criss-crossing, and certainly nothing happened there. Freeman tackled with it. Some of these Balmain forwards have got to straighten the attack up. There's Maguire running across the field. It's up to Sirenen and Roach now to straighten it up.
Back now it goes to Freeman.
Freeman. Where are the forwards?
I don't know, but John
Elias
Elias
is screaming at them to get up there.
Okay, that's Benny Elias he's referring to. Now he gives it across to Roach. Roach charging forward. He's going to try and flick it, but he can't because he's knocked down by Osborne, who made sure he couldn't get the pass away. He'll play it back to Benny Elias again. He gives it out this time to Sirenen. Sirenen goes straight down the centre of the ground, picks up 10 metres. One left to go to the Tigers just outside the St George quarter line. Benny Elias back now to Michael Neal. He gives it across to Maguire again, and a good long pass out to James Grant. He turns it back inside to Michael Neal. Benny Elias juggles, handles it. He puts it on the end of the toe. Williams over there to take it for St George. 5 out from his own goal line. Hemmed in too, and a good tackle by Steve O'Brien brings Williams down 10 metres out from the St George goal line. It's played now, and it's Michael Potter in possession. Oh, he is slammed to the ground by Roach. He'll play it to David New, who sends one off now to Fullerton Smith back from the shed. yet after his cup of tea and bun. He's knocked to the ground on the quarter line. St George entered the ground. Trevor Bailey once again a dummy half, fires a good one across this time to Mark Coyne again. Steps away from Sirenan's tackle, but then Freeman handles him. He'll play it now to Ricky Wolford from the back of the ruck. Wolford trying to get away once again from a Freeman tackle, but knocked down 30 out from his own goal line. Back now to Brad Mackay, and Mackay gets a kick up. Oh, 6 tackles ruled off a Balmain player to Fullerton Smith. Then it goes back to Bailey, taking it right on the halfway line. He's going to be now playing the ball back to John Fafita, has passed the ball to Osborne. I don't believe it. Back now to Ricky Wolford, and Andy Courier over now for his 3rd tackle.
Balmain at 6s and 7s at the moment. St George certainly finding plenty of gaps up the centre of the rucks, and it's Osborne who's dominating the front row battle. There's little Bailey scooting out from dummy half. Elias takes him. They're only 30 metres out from the Tigers' goal line.
Back to Johnny Fafita charging forward. Good tackle by Hardwick. He'll get up the plate. 1 tackle left to go. Bailey across this time to Robinson. Kicks down Furley's turn. Gary Jack around for the chase, and Jack watches it go over the touch in goal. And if are they saying that Jack got a hand to it? No, they're going back to the quarter. I saw the touch judge pointing at something down there.
Yeah, he's pointing to the quarter line. It's a tap from the quarter.
Yep.
But some of these Balmain forwards have got to start to work. Already St George lead by 6-2. Maguire is taking it up more times than not, and it's time for really the front rowers to get in and do their work. There's a penalty to Balmain. St George inside the 5 in defence. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Well, Balmain forwards are playing wide, and that includes Roach and Maguire. They're going up to centre, Saints, and there's plenty of holes.
Yeah, there certainly are plenty of holes up the centre. Balmain just a bit reluctant early in this game to do their work. There's 21 minutes gone, and it's 6 points to 2 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. Bright sunshine at Leichhardt now as the Tigers get inside the St George half.
Free kick by Ben Elias. Back to Roach, charging downfield, knocked down by Mackay. 36 metres out now from the St George goal line. Now, Benny Elias is a dummy half. Gives one back this time to Siranen, travelling downfield very strongly, but he's put down by Osborne. Also, Michael Beattie, who's cut his eye. John Elias up over to the quarter line.
They're 30 metres from 3 forwards. That's how they've got to play.
Oh, John Elias makes the bust, charging downfield, but he's pulled down that time by Brad Mackay. Benny Elias, a dummy half, has a look down the blind, changes it. It goes to Freeman. Out wide now to Michael Neal. Turns it back to Brasher, juggles it back to Freeman again. Benny Elias calls for it, has a look, tries to go forward, can't do anything with that one, and David New around the legs, 1 tackle left to go to the Balmain Tigers as Elias plays it back now to Freeman, back now to Gary Jack. Jack races through, chips up over the head of the St George backline, but Michael Potter, he looks and has been used to taking them.
Yeah, certainly good take by Potter, but referee McCallum's got to watch the 5. I mean, St George were all over Balmain there on the last tackle. There was a player blatantly offside by 10 metres, and the referee ignored him, giving Balmain the advantage, but in the end a penalty should have come after the ball was taken. Well, there's a knock on from Williams, and he can hang his head. That always irritates me when wingers go into dummy half, they stand out on the wing and then they try and get in the action, they come in and knock on. Yeah. Unbelievable and unforgivable.
And the poor buggers have got to put their head in the scrum now, the 12 of them, and they don't like doing that after a winger making a mistake, let me tell you. But it's Freeman's ball, across to Michael Neal. He offloads out to Timmy Brasher. Could have got a pass away. Michael Beattie up very quickly in strong defence to put him down. He pushes him away and plays it back to Michael Neal. Now Hardwick's turn to charge forward. Manages to get up to the St George quarter line centre of the ground as Mackay puts him away, as Benny Elias now serves one up this time for Gary Jack. Does a 360, but he's going to go to the ground also. 3 of the St George players over the top of him. Plays it back to Benny Elias, shows it to 1, still going on his own. Fullerton Smith's there to knock him down. Now they're 10 metres away from the St George goal line. We've got Roach at dummy half across to Freeman, who picks up Michael Neal wide to Brasher. Out to Andy Courier. He turns the ball across down to James Grant. Grant goes back in field. David New combining with Robertson, knock him down. Again, 1 tackle left to go to the Tigers. It goes to Courier, back now to Benny Elias, and Elias has put a cloudbuster up, straight up in the air she's went, taken by Michael Neal, bumps it back to Benny Elias. He gets a kick in downfield and it goes touch in goal.
Balmain concerted attack there, but all amounting to nothing. But it's a bit better than they have been playing earlier in the game. 16 minutes out from half-time. St George 6, lead Balmain 2 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. It's Bailey to take the tap for St George, and he picks up a cheap couple of metres before Roach grabs him and pulls him back towards the quarter line.
Yeah, and a good strong pullback it was too, but he's up the play. Back now to David New, goes across to Kelly, goes without the ball again. Michael Neal, a little swooper-duper. He's onto the pill quickly to give the Tigers possession. Plays it to Freeman. Across this time to John Elias again. Oh, he got rid of one or two. Put a head down. He pushed Shane Kelly aside and also Fullerton Smith. But now it's back to Brasher. Freeman. Good pass to Maguire. Maguire charging downfield. He won't offload this one as he's put away by Brad Mackay. 10 metres away from the St George goal line. I feel Balmain might do something with this one. Roach dummy still going 8 metres now away from the St George goal line. Benny Elias at dummy half. Freeman going to the centre of the ground. He goes forward, races through, puts the chip on two, and it's back by Ricky Wolford running it over the dead ball line.
Big overlap there. I don't know whether the kick was really on, but at least they're putting the pressure on St George. He had men on the right, and the ball should have gone out wide. It's 6-2 in favour of St George over Balmain at Leichhardt Oval. A try in the 17th minute by Gary Coyne as the only 4-pointer. So St George locked up now in their own territory by Balmain, but the Tigers have yet to come up with a try. Let's have a look at what happens here now. Courier's telling Maguire to go up and leave him out wide.
Yep, and we've got Brad Mackay to get it underway with the goal line dropout. Mackay does just that. He snuck another yard.
Half the side were in front of the kicker.
Yeah, and he snuck half a yard too, but it's gone back to Gary Jack. That's a prevalent thing in the game these days. Jack now knocked down centre field, 35 metres out from the St George goal line. Benny Elias trying to set up a runner or two as he gives it back this time to Kevin Hardwick down the centre of the ground. The little legs are pumping and Junior General Custer goes forward. He's up the plat, back to Benny Elias again, gives it out this time to Roach, and that's a block-busting run by Roach that time to the quarter line, and he's got a penalty too. He has got a penalty. Oh, Roach is up, they're dancing around. Whoop-de-doo. Him and young Osborne.
Well, Roach is silly. They've got the penalty. And,
the penalty will stand no matter what, but he's going to cop a gobful now off McCullum,
yeah,
as will Osborne.
They got the penalty.
Yep.
And he's now in trouble with the referee over nothing. I mean, the referee handled the situation. It was Osborne giving him a face massage, and Blocker has resented it after the penalty was given. Now, he should just cop that. At Brookvale Oval 2 years ago, Balmain scored a try, and I'm a good mate of Blockers. I like him a lot.
There's the pressure, Peter.
Yeah, exactly right. You know, you don't do things when you got the ball.
There's
plenty of other times to do it.
The tap has been taken. They didn't have a shot at goal. Now it's Andy Courier. Oh, through the gap. Very strong, but eventually knocked down. Now this is tackle one for the Balmain Tigers. 11 out from the line. Ben Elias back this time to Sirenen. Down into that 10-metre area. 8 away from the Penfolds red and white goal line.
How long can they hang on, St George?
Back it goes to Roach. Couldn't slip that one away, but it goes now to Elias. Across to Freeman. Wide to Hardwick. Out now it goes to Michael Neal. Up come the defence. Coyne gives it across and he takes him. Back it goes to Grant. Then again into the arms of Hardwick, and Hardwick knocked down.
Brilliant game of football, this great attack by Balmain and beautiful defence, hard defence by St George who are tackling today. It's the Saints 6 leading Balmain 2, and Coach Craig Young said the first 20 minutes will find out if they're going to tackle or not.
Back it goes now to Freeman, then on to, Freeman out this time to Timmy Brasher. Brasher's pass is a dreadful one to Steve O'Brien. He manages to take it and stay in field.
Brilliant work by O'Brien.
One tackle left to go. Gary Jack gives it to Freeman, races through, the chips on again. Freeman's there, Freeman scores!
Try!
Oh, it's a try to Gary Freeman. The chip and chase was on, and it's a try to Freeman.
Well, he's just made it before the in-goal line, or did he? It's 6-all here. A brilliant chip and chase by the Wiz. Gary Freeman, he saw Paul Osborne was there. Osborne had to turn around and head for the ball. Osborne was never going to beat Freeman. Try or not? I tell you what, there's a pubic hair in it. There's nothing more than a pubic hair in that one. I don't know whether he got it down before the line. It was a kick, and the dead ball line was there, and I think Freeman was over it. It's 6-all, and there has got to be a big question mark on that one.
Okay, well,
Zorba says... There wasn't much in that, Holly.
No, there wasn't much in it. I don't know what sort of hair was in it, but there wasn't much in it, let me tell you that. But the try's on the board. They've got the points, desperately needed it too. Now the kick from out wide, some 2 metres in from the touchline on the far side. The big Englishman, Andy Courier, going to see if he can add the extra 2 points. Well, this is hotting up this game.
Yeah, terrific game of football. Excellent work by Steve O'Brien to stay inside. But what about Freeman? He did a beautiful run around that put the try on. It was an awful pass from Brasher, who's not playing well again today. He almost wrecked it. Beautifully picked up by O'Brien, and then Freeman had the capability to chip and chase. And I don't think he got to that ball, Greg.
Okay.
I've got to say that. He deserved a try, and some in-goal areas are bigger than others, but here's Courier's kick.
Well, it's high enough. Oh, I'll do a freak. It's long enough, it's high enough, and it's there. It's a great kick by the milk bottle.
Well,
Great kick.
What a magnificent kicker of the football he is. Andy Courier from right on the touchline kicks the conversion, and it's 8 points to 6 to Balmain. Just looking at an ABC replay, no try. But there's nothing in it, and the referee had to make a split decision. I can't even tell. Well, in my opinion, no try, but I've had a look at it 3 times now, courtesy of ABC, and I still can't tell for sure. My gut feeling, and it's a big one, that it's no try. That he's got to make the decision, Greg.
Yes, and he's done that, Peter, and to his credit. Now big Paul Sirenen starting to cut loose now, the Tigers. He'll get up to play it back to Benny Elias. But another penalty against this time Fullerton Smith. Well, he's got it. I'm not going to say that. Penalty kick now to the Balmain side, 30 metres out from the line.
Well, Wally's a good footballer, and he's just got to settle down. It's no good him having a one-man war with Sirenen.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say.
If he's going to give away penalties. Now, he's a tough enough, big enough bloke to handle any situation out there, and that's what he should be doing. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Oh, well, exactly right. They haven't had any ball at all, St George. That's the last thing they wanted.
Okay, Balmain 8. Lead St George 6 and a beauty on that beautiful big Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard.
And Hardwick playing it back to Benny Elias, and here comes Sirenen again. Oh, he's just hit for feet or sent him reeling. Oh, and over the top. Fair dinkum, they're giving him a right serve here this afternoon, Sirenen, but he plays it to his credit. Back to Benny Elias. Elias posted this time. Nowhere to go. Steve Robinson realised it and came in over the top with a swarming hit. Plays it now to Roach across to Freeman. Long pass out now to Grant. Takes on Wolford. His kick in field is a good one.
He's out.
But Michael Porter's there.
No, he's out, Greg. Touch judge flag up. Bengal Lancer standing there like a statue in Martin Place with his flag up, and it was out. Freeman was deemed to be out before he kicked the football. It's 8 points to 6. Gee, some of the
James Grant it was, kicking.
Yeah.
You said Freeman, deemed to be out. No, James Grant did the kicking back inside.
Okay, well, he was deemed to be out.
Yeah, he was deemed to be out.
Okay, gee, the defence is tough in this game.
Is it ever? Fantastic. St George scrum win, straight out now to Mark Coyne. Coyne pulled down on his own quarter line.
There are 8 minutes left in the first half. It's Balmain 8 leading St George 6 and a beauty at Leichhardt Oval. 2 out of 2 for Andy Courier. One a boomer from the sideline to convert a very controversial try awarded to Gary Freeman.
Now it's St George in possession of the ball. Brad Mackay putting a kick downfield. The downtown certainly not on this afternoon, as we see O'Brien couldn't do anything about that one. Straight across the field, over the touchline on the far side of the ground, right in front of that beautiful Skydome sign. They'll light up your life, boy.
Okay, there are very vital 8 minutes remaining in the first half now, and this game is there for the taking. It's a vital stage of the game. Let's see what happens in the remaining 7 now until half-time. Scrum win to the Tigers. O'Brien comes in, takes the ball from the blind side of the scrum off Michael Neal, but he's well covered by the St George defence, which is immaculate today.
And we've got now Hardwick in possession of the ball just outside of his own quarter line. Benny Elias from the back of the ruck gets a kick downfield. Nobody at home.
Not at home.
Well, he's not at home. All right, the chase is on. Courier, can he get a foot? Well, to his credit, Michael Potter. 3 Tigers down there and dives on the ball, gets up and picks up another 12 yards.
Well, Potter was almost gone there, and I dare say that that's a tactic that Balmain will use later in this game. Potter, at the moment, hands on his knees. He had 3 Tigers coming at him. If Courier had got his foot to the ball, it was try time. But Potter came up with it with a courageous take. But I think there's more to come for Michael Potter this afternoon, because he's not endowed with a great deal of speed, and I think that kick down there will be on again when he's out of position. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Yes, Potter and Ricky Walford too casual too. He had the pace to mix it with Courier.
Okay, here's a forward knock on, ruled by the referee. It'll be a scrum feed to the Balmain side. St George attacking. They were 40 metres out from the Balmain goal line. 8-6 to the Tigers over the Dragons, and there are 5.5 minutes left in the first half here, and it's been a tremendous first half. Scrum win to the Tigers again.
Freeman across now to Tim Brasher, who needs to pick himself up, and he is knocked to the ground by Michael Beattie, and Brad Mackay will play it 10 metres short of the halfway line. Up now, another penalty given. Michael Beattie and Brad Mackay. I can't understand this. They're just committing football suicide by hanging on in these rucks, Zorba.
Well, that was a situation where Gary Freeman actually screamed at the referee and said, give us a penalty. The referee's just said to him, I'll referee the game. The penalties in the game are 7-2, and Balmain must be, thinking their Christmases have come early to get a 7-2 penalty count. I keep saying...
Home team.
Yeah, well, a home team. It just happens every game, doesn't it?
Back now it goes to Elias at the tap, the Roach to Maguire. Maguire going forward.
Greg, most of the penalties have had to be given by Mackay.
I agree. No risk. Benny Elias, a dummy half. As we see Maguire play it. It goes to Roach out once again to Kevin Hardwick, having a whale of a game too, the junior Custer. But he's knocked down just outside the St George quarter line. Once again, Benny Elias at dummy half, sends one across to Roach. He misses Sirinen across this time. It goes to Jack. Out now to Brasher. That's about a step, and he's right up now into the St George quarter line. Trevor Barley was the tackler, and so was David New. As we see now Freeman give one across to Bruce Maguire. Maguire turns it back to Freeman again.
That's a beautiful pass.
Yes, and Freeman knocked down 10 metres away from the St George goal line. Sirinen now a dummy half. Across to Benny Elias, he gives it to Roach. Roach tries to go forward. Fullerton Smith, good hit down low to drop him.
He's going to give it a Courier, Balmain. There it is.
Out Courier goes now. What's he going to do? He turns the ball back inside to Freeman. Freeman, oh, he's gone over the touchline. What a great pass by Andy Courier again.
Well, Benny Elias looked at him, and all he did was wink. He winked and said, I'm coming your way. Look at Courier, he wants to get in there and tackle.
Yeah.
Gee, Gary Freeman, what a tremendous little competitor. Going for the corner there, put out, but all heart and soul in that little Kiwi halfback.
Back it goes now to Trevor Barley. And Sirenen's got hold of him and he's flung him back towards his own goal line. He's about 8 metres out from it. He plays it to David New, who goes across to Johnny Fafita. Well, he's going to hit the deck, no risk in the world about that as he goes down 10 out from his own goal line.
3 minutes out from half-time, Balmain 8, leads St George 6. And 6 of those 8 Balmain points I put a big question mark on. I think he was almost on the line or at the back door when he made contact with the ball with a downward motion.
Okay, the kick from general play going across to the wing of Steve O'Brien. Oh, he steps one or two. Michael Beattie, he got away from him just out of the blocks, but he's taken by Fullerton Smith. Gary Jack at the back of the ruck to Freeman. Out now to Michael Neal. Tries to go around for Feeder. He beats him, but then goes straight into the tackle of Brad Mackay and also Trevor Barley. He'll play it back once again to Ben Elias to Freeman. Good pass out to Hardwick, straightening things up and settling things down till he comes to John Fafita's hit, which is a good one. He'll play it a metre over the halfway line. Back now to Benny Elias into St George territory. John Elias steps him once again, has a look back, gives it to Gary Jack. Jimmy Jack around one. No, he's not. A beautiful tackle by Mickey Potter.
Beautiful tackle, one-on-one there.
Grass cutter. Roach turns it across to Brasher once again. Timmy Brasher going for that extra yard or so, manages to stay in field. Coyne over the top of him. He'll get up to play it now to Courier. Sends it across now to Benny Elias to Freeman. Standing still but wide out now to Michael Neal. James Grant on that far flank. He gets going too. He was going to flick it back. He does too, but it's gone over the touchline on the far side. So we've got a change of possession and St George will play the football.
Well, Balmain really trying hard to get that extra points, or those extra points on the board before the break. St George have been under a lot of pressure in this first half. They haven't had much football. They've done well. St George, with the amount of football that they've had, they've hung in there very well. Their defence has been great this afternoon. This is a super game of football. There's Big Osborne going up. He's playing well. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Well, self-destruct with those penalties, St George. They've had a good bruise, but no ball.
They certainly haven't, and they've given too many penalties away. Balmain will have the breeze in the second half. There's a good strong tackle by Brasher on Fafita.
Yep, up now to play it. Back now it goes to Robinson to Fullerton Smith charging forward. He can only pick up another metre for his side.
Good tackle again by Brasher.
Yeah, it's the last one to go. Bailey realises it too, and he gets a hurried kick in downfield. This time Gary Jack not at home. O'Brien has to scramble back, but Ronnie Williams can hoot. Let me tell you, he's picked it up. He's picked it up. He's given him possession. Well, oh, how lucky was that? Oh, my goodness.
Now, did Balmain touch that first?
Well, that's what I thought.
Well, if Gary Jack touched it first,
6.
It should have been play on. It was O'Brien, and he's ruled O'Brien missed it. Well, how lucky for Balmain that O'Brien missed the ball, because that would have been 6 more tackles, a half a metre out from the goal line. If O'Brien had have touched that ball, the replay showed that he didn't. Referee Greg McCullum spot on to even be there. Back
now to Benny Elias across to Maguire was going to offload. Then Coyne coming up quickly to mark him, but it's back to Freeman. Benny Elias immediately getting out of that danger area, and it's got to be an A-grade bounce for the Balmain hooker and skipper going over the touchline, 8 metres over the halfway line in St George territory.
Well, we won't have time for a scrum to even go down before the referee calls half-time in this game, and it's going to be 8-6 to Balmain at half-time over St George. Balmain try coming to Gary Freeman, 2 from 2 for Andy Courier. Mark Coyne a try for St George, and Ricky Walford 1 from 1 this afternoon. The siren will go. They'll kick it downfield. Yeah, Robinson had a look at the clock.
Yeah.
Walford's going after it, but not at full bore. And Balmain had it well covered through James Grant. Okay, so Grant now
He knows he's got to run it up and take the hit, and that's exactly what he does. He's pulled out on his own quarter line.
8-6 at half-time. Balmain 8. Leads St George 6 at half-time in a very interesting game of football here at Leichhardt Oval. For the Balmain side, their try in the 29th minute, I put a big question mark over it. Gary Freeman, chip and chase, and, well, the referee, Greg McCullum, ruled that he forced the ball with a downward motion before the ball carried across the dead ball line. Now, Greg, if it's on the dead ball line, it's out, isn't it?
It sure is, Peter. It's dead.
I think it was on the line.
Yeah, well, it's dead, mate, if it was on the line. And these beautiful binoculars, compliments of OPSM, you were right on to that one. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt.
Well, you referees stick together. You're a sheriff. The scrum's in the game.
No badge on today, champ.
6-5 to Balmain. But here's the important statistic in the first half. The penalties are 7-2 to Balmain. And St George aren't that good a football side that they can give away penalties at the ratio of 7-2.
But as you said, every one of those penalties, he's had a very long, hard look at them, Peter, and they've all been warranted. And the simple fact of the matter is, if there's no discipline in that ruck area, particularly the marker getting up when the man is playing the ball, well, they're going to shoot themselves in the foot.
Well, they certainly are. It's been a terrific game of football. Andy Courier kicked a penalty in the 6th minute of the game to give Balmain a lead of 2-0. In the 17th minute, an excellent St George try. Gee, it was a good one. Beautiful work, first of all, by Paul Osborne, who gave a delayed pass to the lock forward, Brad Mackay. Mackay found the centre three-quarter, Mark Coyne on the inside, and Coyne scooted over for a very good try. Walford converted. That's his only shot at goal. And then in the 29th minute, that try that Balmain came up with after they had hammered away at the St George line, and a sequence of tackles, around about 24 tackles I made it at the St George line without the Dragons having the ball, and they hung in there, and eventually they had to go over the top. It was Freeman who worked a brilliant pass from Gary Jack. It'll end up in St George's possession right now. Potter picks it up. And the referee is, he's allowing the advantage.
Yes.
I thought for a moment there, the way Potter stopped, that he'd blown his whistle. But it's St George in possession. They trail by 8-6. Beattie makes a strong run. There's no support on the outside of him. It's Balmain 8, leads St George 6.
Michael Beattie now playing it back to Bailey, gives it across to Kelly once again, scrambles up over the halfway line before being pulled down by Roach. Up again to play it to Bailey, goes across to David New, out to Osborne. Osborne now is taken by Maguire. He has lost possession back towards his own goal line, but the referee says 6 tackles will be ruled. Hardwick evidently came in contact with it. It's gone across this time now into Kelly's possession once again. He's 8 metres over the halfway line in Balmain territory. Brad Mackay a dummy half, and from that position he tries to pick up yards. He's then taken over the top by Michael Neal.
If St George can hang on to this football and use it like they did in the first half on the rare occasions they had it, they're right in this game. Only 2 points the difference, and they're playing well enough with the ball and have got enough creative players to worry the life out of Balmain. Here's one, Robinson. He's a good little player with the ball in his hand.
Good stepper too. He's up now to play the ball. Back it goes to Coyne, out to Osborne. Osborne gets a kick in downfield. Gary Jack will follow that one, watching it go over the touchline, 9 metres out from the Tigers' goal line.
Okay, so it'll be a scrum to go down that 9 metre area. As Greg said, it's Balmain 8 leading St George 6, and St George would dearly love a try in the opening minutes of this second half to let Balmain know they're in a game of football. They have a habit of getting up when you least expect them, St George, and that could be on the cards today. They're playing pretty well. They're very committed in defence. Balmain in the first half tried very hard and only on one occasion cracked the St George defence. There's that kick downfield again.
Yeah.
Walford's getting back this time though. Potter out of position, and they've noted it. And it's Courier who takes Walford. So there's a 60-70 metre gain for Balmain.
David New passing across now to Williams. He comes back inside Brasher, but Brasher manages to hang on to him long enough to bring him to ground. Plays it once again to Bailey. Goes across to David New again. He shapes up, and then he comes down to be taken over the top by John Elias. It's played once again. It goes across to Kelly, out wide to Fullerton Smith, then on to Michael Beattie, nearly through the gap, but Mickey Neal on the far side of the ground pulls him down. He quickly plays it to Bailey again, out to John Fafita, who picks up Wolf, and he takes up, an ankle tap by Ben Elias. Just manages to drop him. 1 left to go. Bailey gives it to Beattie. Beattie puts a high kick on. No downtown now. They're all onside. Jack goes up to take it, but he's lost it. He's knocked it forward. Gary Jack has knocked it forward. No doubt in the world about that one. So a scrum to go down and pressure from St George.
Pressure galore coming up now for Balmain, and the side going into the scrum. St George go a centre aside. Potter's up there to make the extra man, and the lights are flashing. Dangerous Dangerous amber for St George at the moment.
There's the scrum feed picked up by Brad Mackay once again for St George. Michael Potter up into the line, but he's pulled down just outside the Balmain quarter line by Paul Sirinen.
4 minutes gone in the second half. 8-6 to the Tigers, but St George coming back strongly.
Fullerton Smith up now to play it outside the Tigers quarter to Bailey. Goes to David New. Gives a good pass out to Kelly again, charging straight down the centre of the ground, but he's pulled down up over the top that time by Brucey Maguire. It's played to Bailey across to Osborne. Turns it back to David New. A pass to it was Beattie, was it? Yes, but the one before that, I think the
Forward.
Brad Mackay was forward. No risk. Back it goes now across to Osborne. Good pass out to John Fafita. He holds one up. It goes across, but it's knocked down by James Grant. And the referee says the knock-on has occurred. Mark Coyne trying to pick it up has knocked the football on, so a scrum will go down 5 metres out from the Balmain goal line.
Well, they're very lethargic, Balmain, at the moment, and they are in a bit of bother. St George coming at them very hard. It's a scrum feed to the St George side, and more pressure now on Balmain.
Back now to David New from the back of the scrum. St George winning it. Hardwick's got hold of him, but he's pulled down 5 metres out from the Balmain goal line. Mackay at dummy half across to Robinson. He straightens up the attack taken this time by John Elias and also Maguire. He'll play it once again 9 metres away from the Balmain goal line. It goes across to Osborne. A long pass out to Ricky Walford. He's got James Grant to contend with, and Grant's there to knock him to ground.
Grant should have put him over the sideline there.
He should have. Now it's played to Mackay again. He gives it back to Osborne, charging into a Sirinen tackle, but he flicks it out to Walford. St George have scored a try. I didn't see the pass. It went out to Walford. It was a brilliant bit of rugby league.
Ah, that's marvellous football by Paul Osborne. Magnificent set move too.
Yep.
Osborne knew it was on. So did Walford. He sucked them all in. Paul Osborne, he pretended to charge himself. He got through and he popped the ball out to Walford, who was unmarked. Where was James Grant? That was his man. He'd gone missing in action. Brilliant work. Oh, Grant was in tackling Osborne. That was the problem. And a great try to Ricky Walford. A beautiful pass by Paul Osborne to Ricky Walford. Oh, they went to sleep, Balmain there. Grant was in tackling Osborne, and Osborne got the ball away, and unmarked Ricky Walford has plonked it down 6 minutes into the second half, and Balmain are trailing 10 points to 8 now with a kick to come from out wide. Brilliant football by Paul Osborne of St George, and that was plain stuff, Greg, up the blind side. Brilliant bit of work. Magical pass by Paul Osborne.
Okay, now the kick to be taken by Ricky Walford. Gee whiz. That was a try and a half. Everybody thought he was down, gone, buried for that matter. But he got the pass away, and Walford ever waiting, ever ready to gain the initiative. As he comes in now from the touchline, Ricky Walford's kick. Oh, it's just away, no goal.
Okay, so 2 points the difference, but a different leader now. It's 10 points to 8 on the Mitsubishi scoreboard in favour of St George over Balmain in a beauty at Leichhardt. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Well, there's some Origin forwards on show today. Osborne isn't one of them, but he's the best forward on the ground.
Yeah, he's playing excellent football. John Elias had a magnificent first half for Balmain, though, and he and Osborne certainly standing out there this afternoon. What a game of football. We've only had 7 minutes of the second half, so there's plenty more coming your way thanks to Auto Village, Holden, Tui's, LJ Hooker and Liquor Stop. Let's get into it, Holly.
Okay, Michael Porter now getting up the flat inside his own quarter line to Robinson, again across to Fullerton Smith. Oh, Sirinen comes in and puts him down. One man in, he's hurt himself in doing so, but it's gone now to John Fafita, and Fafita picking up valuable yards too for the St George side. He'll play it now to Trevor Bailey from the back of the ruck. Will he get rid of this one? Michael Neal and Freeman are over the top of him to pull him down.
Sirenen's shoulder is causing him some worry. He's still down on the ground injured as Mackay clears their territory. Balmain have got to get the heck out of their own territories. Gary Jack, he knocked on a few minutes ago and it proved a costly one for the Balmain Tigers. He makes it up just short of the halfway mark in Tiger territory. We've had 8 minutes of the second half. St George 10, lead Balmain 8 and a beauty at Leichhardt.
Back now to Gary Jack, a dummy half across this time to Kevin Hardwick, but he's going to be knocked down by Fullerton Smith. Also Kelly in there, along with Brad Mackay on the halfway line. It's played to Benny Elias. He gives it out now to Bruce Maguire charging forward. Osborne stands his ground with Fafita.
That's a penalty.
Yeah, no, he said 6 more tackles. That's better for him anyway. And it's back now to Elias. He gives it to Roach. Roach goes without the pill. And maybe a Balmain player and also a St George player may be called out if Fullerton Smith's come in again. Michael Beattie was flat on his back, and Roach tried to step over him, which he did, so there shouldn't be any problem. But the referee will put this scrum down. There'll be no penalty, I feel sure. There goes the scrum now.
Okay, well, Steve Roach just dropping the ball there. Crowd today, 7,000. 540 at Leichhardt Oval.
Scrum to go down once again. David New for the St George side. And it's a dreadful scrum. It's broken up. David New had to actually go into the back row to gain possession for that one, but he's up the plat. Brad Mackay at dummy half. Can't get away from the tackle of Freeman. He's like a little ferret, this bloke. He jumps straight on top of him to drag Mackay to ground. He plays it this time back to Robinson, then again on to Kelly, working OT this afternoon. He's down on the halfway line.
It's a tough game, Greg. There's no place for any aprons out there, I can tell you. It's a tough game. No quarter asked for. Beatty through again.
Yeah, round Brasher. He puts the kick on Mark Coyne. Plenty of petrol, and so Ricky Walford, but over the touchline. Well, that was poor defence then from young Timmy Brasher.
Yeah, it certainly was. And had that kick been infield, there were a chance of getting it. Or had he got the ball to Walford, there was a chance of a try there. Michael Beatty went through. He looked for support. He kicked it towards Ricky Walford, but Walford couldn't get there before it went over the sideline. Balmain locked up for this 10 minutes after half-time in their own territory, and they're making plenty of blunders too in possession of the ball. It's allowing St George to keep attacking them. Here they go out now wide through Courier.
Yes, out now to Brasher. He didn't even have a look. Courier came around to support him, but he couldn't get his pass away. Michael Beatty made sure of that. He plays it now. It goes across to John Elias, and Elias running very strongly up outside of his own quarter line.
They got a kick to get out of their own territory. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Well, Scott Goulet about to be thrown into the game by St. Scott Goulet getting stripped.
Okay, Goulet to go into the game for St George. A good young player too. Okay, there's Gary Jack, and he's put a good kick downfield. But Potter's beautifully positioned. Takes it well. 40 metres out from his own goal line and makes it up to within a few metres of the halfway mark.
He'll get up the play it now. Williams at dummy half. Sends it across now to Robinson. Wide it goes to David New. Out now to Ricky Walford, the speedster. Steps away from the first one, but then Michael Neal is around the legs to stop him. He'll play it to David New again, across to John Fafita. Fafita hand on the football that time, with no intentions of offloading that one as he plays it to Williams. Back again it goes to Kelly, and Kelly struggling to get up to the halfway line. Elias has pinched the ball, as Zorba would say, like a little thief in the night. He's got possession for the Balmain Tigers.
I would think that Fafita would be the player to come off, and there's Philippi Smith, another penalty. Elias, too smart for him really, holding his head down, and the penalty given. And
I think little Benny had hold of the front of his jumper, hanging on to him.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Good on him.
Okay, Fafita, I think, will be the player to come off for St George. He would be if I was selecting the player to come off. Okay, here's Balmain for the first time in the 11 minutes of the second half inside the quarter of St George.
Back now to James Grant, and he will struggle right up to the 10-metre line before being knocked to the ground. Benny Elias at dummy half. He gives it out now to Roach. Roach charging forward. He's about 6 metres away now from the St George goal line. Once again, Benny Elias, he serves one up out now to Freeman. Wide it goes to Gary Jack, to Michael Neal. Out to Tim Brasher. Quick hands on to Courier. Out now to Steve O'Brien. Steps inside one, wasn't held. Gets up to go again, but he's claimed over the top by Michael Potter. Courier at dummy half, across to Freeman again, and the ball, a long pass to Brasher, another long one to Benny Elias. The numbers game out wide, it goes this time to Kevin Hardwick, still going, but Michael Beatty's there to stop that run 8 metres out from the St George goal line. Benny Elias at dummy half, goes across to Stephen Roach. Roach charges forward, back now it goes to Brasher. Oh, and he scores a try, adjacent to the left-hand upright, down near the bridge end of Leichhardt Oval. Timmy Brasher.
Oh, beautiful pass by Steve Roach, a magical pass by Roach, and he called it. He said to Elias, he actually put his hand up. He said, I want the ball, and the pass was a beauty. Big Roach charged onto the ball. He pushed off the two defenders. He flicked a beauty out to Brasher, and Brasher went over the top of the defenders and scored a try adjacent to the upright. But Steve Roach, it was a beautiful pass, a 20-metre pass by Elias to Roach, and the flick pass from Roach to Tim Brasher, and he knocked Mark Coyne out of the way, and in doing so dived for the line. A beautiful Balmain try, and Steve Roach called it. It was a long pass from Elias from the dummy half position. It covered 20 metres, and it was then a magnificent try put on by Steve Roach. I'm exaggerating with the 20 metres. I've just had a look at the distance. It was at least 15, and it was a magnificent pass. Okay. What a beautiful try.
Fantastic try. Time offs as referee, Andy Courier. Timmy Brasher treated by two trainers. One of the greatest players for the Balmain club in Dennis Tuddy down there assisting young Timmy Brasher, but he's up and he's okay, and he'll take his position back with the Balmain side.
He scored that try very close to the upright.
Yep.
To the left upright. He may even have, sort of just brushed it as he scored, but a beautiful pass by Steve Roach to Brasher. And Balmain had not been inside the territory of St George for the entire second half, and Wally Fullerton-Smith should hang his head because that was his penalty that led to that try.
Okay, here we go. Courier, 8 metres out, he slams it straight over. And they've got another 2 points, the Tigers. Oh, I like this game.
14 points to 10. 14 to 10 in favour of Balmain again. What a seesawing struggle here at Leichhardt Oval. The fans are loving it. 14-10 to Balmain over the St George side. 2 tries apiece. 3 out of 3 for Andy Courier. He could have thrown that one over the milk bottle, but that was a try to really write home about. That and also the try put on by Paul Osborne for the winger in the St George side, Ricky Walford. It shows that the big men have very much a part to play in this game when it comes to craft. That's what it is. It's absolute craft. Beautiful stuff. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Their front rowers, David Fullerton-Smith, 10 minutes in the bin, and now another infringement.
Yeah, and it's a very costly one from him. Okay, 15 gone in the second half. This game far from over.
Maguire taking the ball on the full from the recommencement right up to his own quarter line. Goulet on now for the St George side. And the ball is played to Benny Elias. Out it goes this time to Paul Sirinen. He's going to be wrapped up just outside of his own quarter line.
And it is Fafita that's off. The Prince of Tonga's off and Goulet's on.
And we've got now Roach charging forward. He's knocked down by Fullerton-Smith and Brad Mackay. He'll get up to play the ball. Benny Elias a dummy half again across now to Kevin Hardwick. Hardwick, he is tackled 32 metres out from the Balmain goal line. Michael Neal across to Benny Elias, and Elias kick downfield. Again taken very nicely, thank you, by Michael Potter. He comes down, gets past Freeman, gets past the second one, and a pull down.
Pulled down by John Elias. He's resurrected his career beautifully, Michael Potter.
Yep.
Good on him. He's a nice guy. Was formerly a brilliant junior player, schoolboy player, good player with Canterbury. Had shocking injuries and is coming back strongly. Okay, 14-10. 4 points the difference. What a seesawing struggle. St George, plenty of class. Here's Goulet.
Yes, charging forward, but the tackler right around the legs to pull him down. Kevin Hardwick back now to Bailey, gives it out to Brad Mackay. He can't get away this time from Roach, who's got a hold of him. He's pulled him down now 30 metres out from the Balmain goal line. Bailey a dummy half across now to Robinson, out to David New. Robinson on the wraparound, steps away from Maguire. He's a tricky customer. Back now to Fullerton-Smith, Fuller running still, but he's pulled down. One tackle left to go to the St George Dragons, just outside the Tigers quarter line. Bailey gives it to Osborne. Osborne's kick goes through, but James Grant's ready to take that one. Tries to get himself mobile, can't get away this time from Coyne and also Goulet, and he's pulled out inside the Balmain quarter line. Now it's Michael Neal's turn from the back of the ruck. This little fella ringing wet, probably about 9 or 10 stone, and he's easily pulled down that time by Osborne. He plays it to Benny Elias. Down the blind side goes Maguire, but he's wrapped up by Goulet in a copybook tackle. Back again to Benny Elias, a dummy half to Freeman, linking up out wide. Courier goes without the football, and St George will come up with it. No, a knock on, says the referee.
Well, that's his first mistake today, Courier, and he was bursting onto it, and had he taken it, I think he would have caused some hurry up there, because there's not too many players in rugby league that will catch Courier in full flight. Here's a great opportunity for the Saints again. Michael Beattie having a good strong game, the skipper for St George, veteran player. He's made a couple of inroads today. Oh, beautifully picked up by the St George player Mackay, but the penalty's been given. St Balmain inside the 5 according to the referee, and not standing square on with a man playing the ball, but Brad Mackay took that on his fingertips, and he'll find the sideline now, or they're going to have the shot at goal, fellas.
Well, I don't know what he's going to do, but the touch judges are standing over there, so he's kicking for line.
I'd be giving Walford a shot at goal. I mean, there's 22 minutes left in the game.
Yep, well, he kicks right across to that big, beautiful Brasher sign on the far side of the ground. The free kick to be taken. Now it goes straight back into the arms of Kelly charging forward. He's 9 metres out from the Balmain goal line.
They must think they've got a try on, Greg. They must think they've got this Balmain defence at 6s and 7s, because otherwise they would have taken the shot.
Back it goes now into the arms of Osborne. He dummies still going forward. I'm looking for the pass. May just creep out the back of someone's legs, but down he goes. Trevor Bailey now a dummy half. David New calls for the ball. He offloads to Robinson. Wide along cut-out pass. Oh, it went to Michael Potter, who's gone without the football. Knockback, says the referee. He'll play it on the Tigers quarter line to Mackay, who gets it out the back door to Michael Beattie. That's scrappy stuff. Then it goes across the Coyne. Well, he's gone about 35 yards backwards towards his own line. Sirinen comes at him and puts him away. Zorba, they lost 25 yards.
They lost 30 yards.
Okay, well, you know what my figures are like. And then they've kicked out on the full from general play. So the change of possession goes to the Balmain inside, about 5 metres over the halfway line in Tiger territory.
That was sustained pressure and defence from Balmain that caused St George to panic there. St George really needed cool hand Luke somewhere on the field. They didn't have it. There's the changeover. Balmain will settle it down, I can promise you. John Elias has had a good game. His step has worried the St George defenders today. So too is Sirinen. He's caught plenty and is going strongly. This is a good game of football. Osborne has been fabulous for St George.
Back now goes to Elias, a dummy half to Freeman. Good pass to Maguire. Freeman on the wrap around again. He's looking for support. He finds Gary Jack. Jack looks up and sees Wolford and Goulet there, but he offloads to Freeman once again. He can play this kid, but he's knocked down once again. And he will play at about 8 metres over the halfway line in St George territory. Roach in possession of the football. A pass to John Elias, who opts now to pick up Brasher. Brasher gives it back to Sirinen, and Sirinen has put it down. Rule back, says the referee, and again Brasher going forward. Will be about 10 metres out from the halfway line. One tackle left to go.
Well, a side that settles down will win this game. A lot of panic football going on out there at the moment. Oh, and Elias puts the ball over the sideline, and it'll be a scrum to go down on the quarter line. Replacement for St George now is Steve Linane coming on, and he's replacing David New. Steve Linane to half-back for St George. Tricky little customer.
Sure is, and this scrum going down, as Peter said, on the St George quarter line. Linane up now to work this one for St George. They win it. It goes across to Robinson. Robinson committed then to the run, and Gary Jack to stop him.
20 minutes gone, halfway through the second half. It's 14-10 in favour of Balmain over St George.
And Goulet put away that time by a strong tackle from Hardwick and Maguire. He plays it back to Bailey from the back of the ruck. He can't get past Sirinen. Again pulled down 30 metres out from the St George goal line.
The lead has changed hands 5 times in this exciting game here at Leichhardt Oval this afternoon. Excellent stuff from the Tigers and the St George Dragons before a crowd of 7,540. There's Osborne in pass again to Fullerton Smith, and he's tackled 40 metres out from his own goal line. Lane puts his right foot to the ball.
Yes, and it'll go right downfield. Gary Jack's there to take it, but Ricky Wolford's also on him very, very quickly. Best Saturday game we've called for a heck of a long time, but it's played to Grant. Goes across now to Michael Neal. He gives it out this time to Stephen O'Brien. Oh, and he's put away another good tackle from Fullerton Smith, and Michael Beattie puts him down. He'll play it to Benny Elias, who gives it across to Freeman. Out it goes to Brasher. Brasher can't get past the defence, and that was a good tackle from Shane Kelly. Up the plat. Maguire's a dummy half. He goes on his own. He looked back for support. None available, and he carries the football outside of his quarter line. Benny Elias from the back of the ruck makes a terrific run. He's got O'Brien on the inside. Passes now, but O'Brien can't take it cleanly, and he pushes it over the touchline, 4 short of the halfway line in Balmain territory.
Benny should have thrown that first time, and I think it's in off a Balmain player over the sideline. It'll be a scrum feed to St George, I feel sure. Yes, it is, and Lanane's got the football. Still anyone's game. Balmain 14 leads St George 10 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. All Balmain offside in the back line, and the penalties in the game in the second half have gone a little bit back towards St George after they conceded 7-2 in the first half. Balmain have only got 1 in the second half. St George have got 2 in the second half. So the penalties are 8-4 in favour of Balmain over St George. The scrums are 10-7 to St George.
There's the penalty kick taken by Mackay. It finds touch 10 metres out now from the Balmain goal line.
Okay, and here's a great opportunity for St George. 6 tackles, 10 metres out, and Osborne will come into the game, I feel sure, from here.
Williams in possession after the tap from Bailey. He's pulled down by Sirinen. Up now to play the ball. Bailey again a dummy half across to Linane. Good pass on to Osborne on the boil, and he's going forward 4 metres away from the Balmain goal line. 6 tackles ruled. Bailey gets it across to Steve Linane. He's got a little step. Hardwick's there to knock him down centre field. 5 out from the Tigers goal line. Back now to Robinson. He can step this bloke. He gives a pass to Michael Beattie. Beattie scores! Beattie scores! Beattie scores!
Beautiful try by St George, and the try was on. It's 14 all in a humdinger here at Leichhardt Oval. Magnificent try by the skipper, Captain Courageous. Blood flowing out of the right cut eye. Linane hasn't been on the field long. He got a beautiful pass to Michael Beattie. He went through Benny Elias's tackle and scored the try for St George. Brilliant bit of work by Steve Linane. He ran wide. He took the tackle of Maguire, and he went through the tackle of Steve O'Brien, Ben Elias, to score the try. It's 14 all in a beauty, with a kick to come from Ricky Wolford, who's only kicked 1 out of 2 this afternoon. This is his 3rd attempt And what a great try by Michael Beattie. This St George side certainly have lifted their game today. 14-all.
And the kick to be taken by Walford inside the Balmain quarter line. 14 metres in from the touchline. And as Peter pointed out, Captain Courageous try that one from Michael Beattie, storming on, but again the damage done early, and strong play from Paul Osborne. Well, this kick now can again put them in front. How many times did you say it changed, mate? Four or five?
6 now.
6 now. What a game.
6 times it's changed. It's been a fantastic game of football. And here's Ricky Walford to put the Saints in front.
Yes, as he comes in, conventional kick, a straight. Oh, he has pushed it. He has pushed it away to the left-hand side. Very uncharacteristic.
It's called pressure, Greg.
Yep.
They're easy when there's no pressure, but he stabbed at that. Ricky Walford, 14-all, field goal time at Leichhardt Oval. There are 15 minutes left for play in this game here at Leichhardt. So we'll see Ben Elias for Balmain, and probably for the St George side, either Steve Robinson, Brad Mackay, or maybe even Michael Beattie for St George. So it's that time of the game for a 1-point field goal to break the deadlock. 14-all. It's been a magnificent spectacle. 3 tries to 2 in favour of St George. Goal kicking has let them down this afternoon. Here's Shane Kelly, who's going strongly. 30-odd metres out from his own goal line.
Up the plat now, back to Bailey. Lanane now receiving it, gives it across to Brad Mackay. Mackay charging forward, but wrapped up by Kevin Hardwick. 10 short of the halfway line, still in St George territory once again. Bailey across this time to Osborne, holds it up for Big Goulet coming through, but he's pulled down once again. He'll play it about 6 metres short of the halfway line. Bailey trying to scramble away. His pass goes back to Kelly. Kelly has a look downfield, gets a kick over to Courier. That could have been a mistake from the youngster. Courier now turns his attention to James Grant. Grant going to be wrapped up by Brad Mackay and Ricky Walford on the far side of the ground, 8 metres short of the halfway line, still in Balmain territory.
They're very hungry in defence today, St George. Very, very hungry, and they're hurting in their tackles. Good stuff. Balmain, no, they've been in the football game. They're really struggling to overcome this very, very strong St George challenge. It's 14-all. The Saints have kept coming back at Balmain throughout the game. Penalty in the play the ball, this time from Shane Kelly reaching around. That was a fair pinch by the referee, and the penalty given. And
Benny Elias sucked him into that one. Zorba waited and waited as long as he could, then tried to flum the pass, which he did. And the referee had no alternative but to give Elias the penalty.
Well, you know, gee, there's been some... here's Balmain now, almost up to the St George quarter, and they've got players with flair too. It's the side with the ball that's going to win it over this remaining 13 minutes of play.
Courier tries to bust him to no avail. Lanane's got hold of him, won't let him go. He'll get up the play at Benny Elias now in the centre of the ground, 40 metres out from the St George goal line, and Hardwick puts the head down to go through.
And they're working it for a field goal. It'll be another forward taking it straight up.
Back it goes to Elias, and there's Big Sirenin charging forward as Peter predicted. So Benny Elias is going to come up into the dummy half rail, so he's obviously not going to have the kick, but he said, no, I want it closer. So Maguire charges forward. Benny's back now. Freeman goes into that familiar role, looking for Benny. Roach wants to run it, but it'll go to Elias. There's the goal. Shot a goal off the back of Mackay. Back now it goes to Mark Coyne, and St George get off the hook, Zorb.
Yeah, they do, but they were very aware that Elias was going to take it. Had Balmain flung it to the other side of the ruck there and had someone capable of potting it, he would have had all day to do it, because they were like bees around a honeypot around Elias on that occasion.
And we've got Osborne getting up there to play the ball after being pulled down. It's played to Bailey, gives it back now to Goulet. Goulet charging forward. He's going to be pulled down too by Roach and also Maguire. Bailey a dummy half. The ball goes a long pass back to Mackay. Mackay's put a chance down, and it's going to be going into the arms of one or two. Who is it? Well, no one's picked the darn thing up. Well, 3 players went through there. Brasher went through, so did Hardwick. Mickey Neal had 2 cracks at picking it up, and he just couldn't do it.
Well, it could have been a try. It was a legitimate charge down by Michael Neal. Neal went for it, so too did Brasher and Maguire and Hardwick, and they all knocked it on. Oh, well, luck's a fortune. That could have been a 6-pointer under the sticks for the Tigers, but not to be. Lady Luck turned her backside on the Tigers on that occasion.
Williams now getting up the plate inside his own quarter. Back now it goes to Michael Potter. He gets out of the quarter only a metre or so. He quickly plays it to Barley to Lanane. Out once again to Kelly. Boy, has he had a game, this kid, this afternoon, and he's wrapped up beautifully by Kevin Hardwick. He'll play it once again to Barley. Goes across to Lanane. Out to Fullerton Smith. A long pass to Walford. Walford this time picked up by James Grant and given a right serve. One left to go to the Dragons. Walford now playing the ball. Back it goes to Coyne. A long pass this time into the arms of Lanane. Gets his kick downfield. Picked up by Michael Neal. Out to Gary Jack. I thought he was going to knock on. He goes through. Up now into St George territory once again.
Balmain, gee, they've got a lot to thank Michael Neal for. He's everywhere. He's just charged the ball down. He's just picked the ball up. There's Courier over the top to James Grant. He's tippy-toeing along that sideline, but stays in field. There are 10 minutes left for play. 14 all in a humdinger. A beautiful game of football here at Leichhardt Oval.
John Elias passes a crook one. Benny Elias couldn't pick it up, and Kelly for St George takes the initiative and dives on the loose ball.
St George have got more momentum at the moment than Balmain.
Fullerton Smith again charging forward up towards the halfway line. Still centre field. Hardwick the tackler over the top. It's played now to Bailey. Back to Steve Lanane. He still can't step Hardwick's tackle, and he's pulled down. Fullerton Smith hurt his leg as we see it now. Played to Bailey. Goes back this time to Kelly, and once again Hardwick's in there to do the damage over the top. Now they're 5 metres over the halfway line in Balmain territory. He can hardly stand up, that kid Kelly, but it's back to Osborne. Osborne going forward, and again Hardwick combining with Paul Sirinen in there for the tackle. 8 metres over the halfway line in Balmain territory.
Fullerton Smith's got cramps. He's down in back play. Last tackle, Lanane. He's made a difference since he's come on. He's kicked downfield. Gary Freeman's the only one at home.
Yes, back in the in-goal area. Manages to get into the field to play. Beattie followed it down. So did Williams, and they've got him. O'Brien at dummy half. Gives it across to Gary Jack. He needs to get some momentum going, but he's taken by Goulet.
Well, one drop ball now under pressure, and the game's gone. 14 all here at Leichhardt. Magnificent game of football between these two teams.
O'Brien up to play it to Tim Brasher. Brasher sights an opening, tried to get through it, but it closed up very quickly as he's knocked down close to his own quarter line.
9 minutes remaining at Leichhardt Oval. 9 minutes remaining, 14 all, the Tigers and the Dragons.
And we've got Maguire trying to get up to play the ball. This time they let him go quickly as it goes to Freeman across to Benny Elias, and he says, I'm getting the heck out of there, which he does with a kick downfield. Bouncing awkwardly for Michael Potter. He'll go across to pick up the ball 11 metres out from his own goal line. Up come the chasers, and again, little Kevin Hardwick's into the fray to pull him down.
He's had a good game, General Custer.
Oh, has he what? Back it goes across now to Robinson. Robinson straightens up the attack. Ben Elias combining to pull him to ground.
It's the pressure part of the game. One drop ball from either side in their own territory. Oh, good run from Goulet. Very good run, Scott Goulet.
Yeah, strong run. He'll play it to Bailey once again. It's linked up there with Lanane out to Osborne. His pass is a shocker, but Michael Beattie again picks it up, but his pass has gone forward. And Ron Williams dives on the ball. It has gone forward. The referee says scrum to go down.
Silly pass by Beattie. They had 6 more tackles there. Osborne arguing with the referee, but the referee played the advantage.
And he was right.
He was knocked down by a Balmain player. He gave St George 6 more tackles, and then the forward pass came. He's got a rule on it.
That's exactly right. He's done everything right this afternoon, McCullum, for mine.
Well, I don't know about that.
Except for the try that you question.
Yeah, I question one try is a penalty.
Well, he's consistent because he got the Tigers in a similar situation.
He certainly did. It's a differential. You can't shoot for goal, but you can take a tap and have a shot at field goal.
He can't hear you, Zorb.
But maybe it's a bit far out.
There's Gary Jack kicking for line. We'll find it too. So they'll hit it up again, I feel sure, for another shot.
There's 8 minutes left. I think they'll go for the try.
Back it goes okay across to Michael Neal. He won't get past Scott Goulet. Gee, talk about David and Goliath. He'll get up there to play it, little Michael Neal. Back it goes to Benny Elias across to Hardwick, again charging forward, right up now to the St George quarter line. Elias at dummy half, calling him through. He gives it back to Sirinen. Sirinen holds it up for John Elias this time. John Elias passes back to Bruce Maguire. Maguire going to be confronted by Mark Coyne and eventually knocked to the ground 24 metres out from the St George goal line.
That's panic stuff from Balmain.
Back now to Benny Elias. He running across field. Goulet's got him in a copybook tackle once again around the legs.
They're going nowhere. They need someone to straighten it up.
Back it goes this time to Roach charging forward, but he's wrapped up that time by Kelly and knocked to the ground. Osborne hurt himself as he fell underneath the tackle of Roach. Roach getting up slowly to play the ball. Freeman a dummy half. He dummies, races through, puts the tip on. Oh, he's been put out of business. This is a penalty kick. He has been put out of business. Now the player, Peter, very important. It was Shane Kelly.
Wow, how ridiculous from Kelly. They had them covered there, and he's had a very good game.
Blinder.
Kelly, but they got out of that area too quickly and all too late. It was Kelly that put the tackle on Gary Freeman, and this is a kick right in front with only 6 minutes left for play for Andy Courier. He's kicked 3 out of 3, and my word, Balmain have had some worries here today against this very courageous St George side. St George's lack of discipline is all that's gone against them today. If Balmain get the 2 points, I'm sure they'll concede that they've been very, very lucky this afternoon.
Okay, this kick now to be taken by Courier, and it doesn't matter how much experience or how many points you've scored when the pressure's on like it is right at this moment. Anything could happen. We saw that with Ricky Walford down the other end of the ground.
Will not miss this goal.
He will not miss this goal. I've been informed by my sidekick Joshua, who has been known to walk on water.
Well, mate, there are kickers that can handle pressure and others that can't. This fellow can't.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
If he misses this, I'll give you 100.
Okay, I'll take it.
If he kicks it, you give me 90.
I'll give you nothing, except the applause. Okay, he's 11 metres out. They're moving around on the mark just a little bit, and I'm sure referee McCallum is aware of it as Courier comes in. There he goes, there he goes. Oh, and it's over the bar. And you don't get your 90.
Okay, and Balmain hit the lead again. That's the 7th time that it has seesawed today. Balmain 16, lead St George 14, and a beauty. There are 5 minutes left for play. It's not over yet. This St George side have been so gallant that maybe a draw would be the right result, and there's still that question mark that I put over Gary Freeman's try. But the penalty goal kicked by Andy Courier. 4 out of 4 for Courier. 16-14 to the Tigers over St George, and Balmain now. Gary Jack from the kick-off, tackle just outside his own corner. Sideline eye, Tony McGee.
Oh, if you were Shane Kelly, unforgivable. How could you tackle all day and do that?
Well, certainly you do things on the football field that really you regret. Okay, here it is. John Elias has had a very good game.
Up now to play the ball. Back it goes to Freeman, to Benny Elias, and he's getting the heck out of there once again with a long kick downfield. Potter again having to turn and chase the ball right back towards the in-goal area. He'll pick it up. He turns to chase. Oh, there's 6 Tigers up there in defence. Michael Neal first, Little Freeman second, and they put him down 5 out from his own goal line. Williams from the back of the ruck trying to race away, and again Michael Neal down around the legs to knock him to ground.
Gee, there's been some magnificent players on this football field this afternoon. Paul Osborne for St George, Shane Kelly, despite that penalty he gave away, the Gary Freeman and Michael Neal and John Elias and Kevin Hardwick, all have had magnificent games. The Mad Berries points are pretty tough today.
Yeah, sure are. Now it's Bailey at the back of the ruck, across now to Steve Linane. Oh, the pass this time. And I'm trying to pick up who put it down. Couldn't get a number, but I think it may be it's not Michael Potter. It was Robinson, but it's played now back to Elias. He takes off. He's about 9 metres out from the St George goal line. Now can the Dragons hold the Tigers out? He's up to play it. Freeman's a dummy half. Michael Neal receives it. He offloads out now to Roach again for a big, strong, block-busting run. And he's going forward, but he's still going to be 5 metres out from the St George goal line. Benny Elias, a dummy half, pointing towards the centre of the ground. He passes to Freeman. A long pass out to Michael Neal. He keeps it alive with Courier. Courier tries to step Coyne, but he lops one up over the top to Grant. Grant takes off, but Grant can't get away from the tackle of Ricky Walford on the far side of the ground. He'll play it to Courier. Across to Freeman once again. Out now to Maguire, to Freeman on the wraparound, and again he finds himself 10 metres short of the St George goal line. Up to play the ball very quickly. Back it goes to Courier. He races through, drops it off the end of the toe, but it goes over the touchline a metre out from the St George goal line.
Oh, terrific game of football. I make it 3 minutes left in the game, and we're into the final 5 now. Balmain 16, lead St George 14. What a vital game this is for both sides. It's been played like a grand final between these two great rugby league clubs, and I've got to say it deserves a draw, this game. St George don't deserve to be beaten, Greg.
No, now we've got Mackay from the back of the ruck. I've loved every minute of it, Peter. It's been fabulous. I got a hangover on rugby league, and it's a beautiful one. No hangover helper on this one. Back it goes to Osborne again, trying to work some magic down the blind side. He gives it back to Walford. Walford then picks up again Shane Kelly going through on the burst, but he's pulled down 24 metres out from the Dragons goal line. Back it goes to Bailey. Across now to Robinson. Robinson steps one, a long pass out to Coyne, who can motor. Coyne tries to get out wide, and he does to Michael Beattie. Beattie takes off. He's got Williams on the outside. He's got players on the inside, and Bailey's hand went up the pass, but he couldn't get it away.
Great tackle by Freeman. saved a very difficult situation.
Now it's played by Michael Potter. It goes back once again to Robinson. The kick's on, and it's taken by Gary Jack 4 metres out from his own goal line. Gets up to go again, looked at the referee and slowed down.
Yeah, he certainly did. There's 1 minute left for play. Magnificent game of football, and St George is still hanging in there, hoping, trying to get the ball to do something. Balmain only have to hang on to it. Brasher runs across in front of his uprights. That's silly.
Yep.
Some of the forwards are going to take it now. It's 16-14 to Balmain.
Benny Elias at dummy half. He gives it across now to John Elias. He'll do the job for him, but he's pulled down about 15 metres out from the Balmain goal line. Up again to Platt. Back it goes to Roach to Benny Elias. Oh, he couldn't get his kick in that time. Lane up there very quickly. Steve Lanane to harass Benny Elias. 10 metres away from the Balmain goal line. Up the Platt to Hardwick. Hardwick's going to go on his own. Oh, he gets downfield. He kicks. He races through. He's going to get the kick. Another kick. Now Michael Neal chases the ball. And Williams goes backward. What about the bounce? Oh, and it's gone back once again to Hardwick in possession of the ball, but it's not gone.
Well, Greg, Kevin Hardwick is our 2GB Mad Barry's player of the
Had a blinder.
Player of the match. I was waiting, and I couldn't decide between him and also Paul Osborne, but the young, he's a veteran, Kevin Hardwick, and it's General Custer's son that's won the 2GB Mad Barry's man of the match this afternoon. Kevin Hardwick 3, Paul Osborne 2, John Elias 1. Magnificent game of rugby league, and there's another half dozen players that could have won awards today. So it is Kevin Hardwick 3 points, 2 to Paul Osborne and 1 to John Elias, and time is almost up.
Okay, St George is in possession of the ball now and still not done, although it's come off a Balmain player. Oh, he says play on. It came off a Balmain player into the arms that time of O'Brien, but he'll get up the Platt. Back now to Brasher. Goes across now to Stephen Roach, and it's just lock-up time now as Roach goes to ground. He'll play the ball once again. Benny Elias is a dummy half. He'll have a look for support. He gives a pass across this time to John Elias, who lopes up that time to the St George quarter line. And there goes the siren. So they've got away with this one. What a great game of rugby league.
Balmain 16 have beaten St George 14 in a magnificent game of football. The Saints scored 3 tries to 2, and I think the draw should have been the right result. But what a game of football. Our 2GB Mad Barry's man of the match this afternoon. 3 points to Kevin Hardwick, 2 to Paul Osborne, and 1 to John Elias. And what a game of football. 4 Balmain this afternoon. Tries by Tim Brasher and Gary Freeman. 4 goals from 4 attempts to Andy Courier, and for St George, a try to Ricky Walford, a try to Michael Beattie, and 1 to Mark Coyne, and 1 goal from 3 attempts to Ricky Walford. And our 2GB Mad Barry's man of the match this afternoon has gone to Kevin Hardwick. Kevin, congratulations, a magnificent game of football.
Thanks very much.
A terrific game, and really it was a game where the lead changed hands 6 times. You guys had to work very hard.
Mate, as far as I'm concerned, anyway, it was a pretty quick game. It was a bit of a scramble to get your spot, but we managed to hold out in the end, I suppose.
Well, you led 8-6 at half-time. They kept coming back at you, didn't they?
Yeah, well, they played a very good going forward game, and they had us a bit tricked there for a while. They hit in the middle and coming back on us, and that's where they're getting their tries from.
Kevin, you've made every post a winner. You've made every post a winner while Wayne Pearce has been out, and you've really helped this Balmain side on their way today.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. Like, it was a 13-man effort. It just so happened that I had probably one of my better games this year, I suppose.
Kevin, you're a man of few words. It's Coach Ryan here. You'll have to talk to me. I want to congratulate you on a great game. Well done, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, it was a terrific performance, Kevin, and I think you epitomised the Balmain spirit today and your courage when you got stuck there on the last tackle. You're not a kicker of the ball. You kicked it and you chased hard, and it must be that beautiful sea air at Newport that gives you the strength to chase them.
Oh, mate, when things are going right, everything goes right, I suppose.
He used to be a soccer player, Zorba, you know.
Did he? Well, congratulations this afternoon, Kev. Go and enjoy that shower. 3 points in our Mad Barry's player of the match.
Thanks very much.
There he is, a very good game. Kevin Hardwick doesn't get many raps. Warren, I thought he had a magnificent game today.
Yeah, he's a real player's player. He's a very hard-working player. He's not all that fashionable as a player, but he's a very, very hard-working player.
Okay, I think you're a little bit lucky to get the points.
Peter, I couldn't agree more. I thought we were scrappy, shabby, lacking in cohesion, particularly around the first and second receiver area. There was no control of the game. They were much smarter, and I thought Robinson in particular had a very fine game for St George in that area.
He certainly did. Gee, there were some good players on the... I know you're your team's harshest critic, and that's the way it's got to be. From a spectator's point of view and from a broadcasting point of view, it was one of the best games of the year. It was great.
It was terrible for me, just the difference, you see. I thought it was a shocking game.
Did you?
Yeah, well, mainly because I remember Gibbo saying to me after the City Country game, he said, gee, he said, I wish I had nothing to do with that game the other day, Warren. I said, why, Jack? He said, because he said I could have enjoyed it then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the lead changed hands, I think 7 times. It may have been 8. And,
God bless Andy Currier.
Well, 4 from 4, and he only made, I thought, 1 mistake in the game. And, gee, you've been struggling for a goal kicker. I dare say if Currier wasn't there today, you wouldn't have won, because you haven't had 4 out of 4s all year, have you?
No, we haven't, and we wouldn't have won.
Yeah, it was. I thought St George played a lot smarter than we saw them at Newcastle, certainly.
Yeah, and I don't think our pack put the question to them like the Newcastle blokes did. I thought we had a couple of ordinary performers in our forwards. I must say I think Sirenen played very well, though. I thought he tackled well and he ran well, and but there were a few blokes that didn't work real hard, I thought, in the forwards.
Yeah, they went in patches, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and I thought probably looking at their side, definitely Robinson worried us greatly, because he's a very clever ball player.
Osborne
had a good game as a comeback game. He'd been out for a while.
Yeah.
And
that was a beautiful pass around the corner.
That was a brilliant bit of work for Ricky Walford's try. Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think it was a planned move too.
Well, I'd say he must have been conscious of, but there were people all round Osborne, but he must have been working for Walford, and Walford was aware that what he was capable of, because it was quite a surprise play, wasn't it?
It certainly was. Well, we go into another split round situation. Is that beneficial to you or not?
Well, I don't think so, in the sense that we're going to have to play Canterbury 2 days after a State of Origin game where we've got 4 forwards involved. So once again, I know you complained when Manly copped that against Canterbury, and once again we've copped it against Canterbury again, and we've had Terry Lamb get off, and that's a Canterbury player, and well, what can you say?
Warren,
nothing, I suppose.
Well, I think that's got to be questioned, that game at Leichhardt on the Friday. I mean, Canterbury, on 2 successive Fridays after State of Origin, have met the New South Wales
2 northern teams that have had representatives.
2 northern teams with 4 representatives.
Exactly.
I think that there really is room for a protest on that.
Well,
and questions to be asked. I mean, it's allocated, but, there are games there that are on the Sunday that haven't got as many players as you guys have, and I didn't want to make that much of a noise about it because Manly was involved.
Well,
but I think on this occasion...
Let's make some noise, because now it's my turn.
Well, it is, and I think it's wrong.
Of course, I think it is too. We've got 4, and they're forwards. So, I mean, 3 of them are going to have to work very hard, because 2 of them are in the front row and 1's in the second row, and it's a State of Origin which Queensland have to win, so it's not going to be any sinecure.
And they may have 1 player in, Gillespie.
That's right.
So it's really got to be a question asked about that, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, I asked the question. I asked the question how they copped one after a Friday nighter on Manly. Now they've copped a Friday nighter on us. And I mentioned the other incident. Everybody, I believe, been ringing up today on both radio programs, all radio programs, not going crook about Terry Lamb. I mean, Terry, it's like being selected in a team. You can't blame the bloke that's selected in a team. What we're questioning is the decision when Peter Spring gets what he gets, and the decision to let Terry Lamb off, when, I mean, even people high in the game who said, well, they thought that there'd definitely have to be some sort of a suspension. It just makes you wonder.
Okay, well, you're happy with the 2 points today, but not happy with the way the side played.
No,
is that a fair comment?
We're very, very lucky. We're grateful for the 2 points, but, those things happen in the course of a season, and if you manage to win the close games, and if you can win when you play that poorly, well, there's hope for tomorrow type of thing.
Okay, mate, well, we'll see you on World of Football tomorrow.
Okay, Pete.
Okay, there he is, Warren Ryan, accepting the 2 points, but as always, he is very, very honest, straight from the shoulder, not happy about a couple of things in the game, and I must say that Friday week game has, that's got to be questioned in light of what Manly had to go through it, and now Balmain have to go through it, and I think the league can win a lot of points, and they need to win some at the moment if they switch that game. Now, television isn't running the game of rugby league, or it shouldn't be, and I know they paid $45 million, but they've got to swap that Friday night game, Balmain and Canterbury, because there are too many questions being asked by the paying public.